Welcome to the bold analysis. We agreed in a previous video that the discussion the country must have is about finance bill. And Ruto Rigathi shenanigans are just disruption or just distraction. So someone wants to make sure that we don't pay attention to that finance bill. So now that document is supposed to head to Parliament after the committee retreats to write its report, after that dummy public participation. And when you listen, today I listened to Gathoni Wamuchomba, blow by blow account on what the taxation in agriculture, the taxation policies that Kenya Kwanza is actually putting up. I remember even in the morning, I also listened to David Ochieng, who was also appearing in a TV interview saying, we ought not to even had a finance bill this time round. We would have used the last finance bill because even the last one has not been implemented fully. And we are increasing more taxes while the previous one that we used, where we also increased taxes, did not translate to very good results. So we are also making some very key political blunders as far as this issue of taxes is concerned. So I want us to listen to Gathoni Wamuchomba. She has a very interesting breakdown on what exactly has been proposed in that document and why the MPs, for the first time, at least they should ensure that they redeem their image by not just rubber stamping what is coming from the State House.
Last year, my farmers who rely on value addition on tea cried and complained very loudly on excise duty that was put on papers that are used for packing tea leaves. Eric and Tim, I'm sure you consume tea. That tea bag that you removed from a certain box, a corner box, that box is made up of a paper called bond paper. Mm-hmm. That tea that you put in the bag, in the cup that has a kind of a
label,
a small label,
small
a
bag.
string,
Mm-hmm.
and like a small bag. Mm-hmm. Those are 3 different papers in that one bag. Mm-hmm. Because there is that clear looking, you can see the tea leaves from afar, and then there is that string, and then there is that branding that is done on that as a tag. Those are 3 different papers. There is a virgin paper, there is craft paper, and that string. All that paper, according to this finance bill, excise duty of 35% is added.
Are they all plastic?
Remember, this paper is imported. So when you're bringing that paper, because we no longer produce paper in this country, you pay import duty. Remember, this paper has to be cleared at the port. You pay IDF duty. Remember, this is value addition. And in Kenya, any product that is under value addition is subjected to VAT. So there is 16%. Are you writing down? So there is 35%. There is 25%, there is 3%, there is 16% of VAT, and then you can add import promotion levy of 3%. Do your maths. So those proposals on value addition cannot sustain any industry in this country in value addition of tea. Now let me tell you, my brother, and I want to be heard very clearly, especially by farmers. As we speak right now, we have an extremely serious jam of tea in our Mombasa warehouses. We have over 80 million kilos of tea that is stranded in Mombasa.
Why?
One of the reasons why we have that serious jam in Mombasa is because of the Finance Bill 2023, the Finance Act. Because all these taxes interfered with the people who are packing our tea. In Mombasa, tea that is not bought through from the auction is normally bought by packers. And packers will pack this tea, either they sell it here as value-added tea through your supermarket, or they export that tea as value-added tea. From last year, after we passed the Finance Act last year, most of the packers closed down or relocated to Dubai and to Egypt and to Sri Lanka. Now, those packers used to buy the reject tea. Let me call it reject. But I shouldn't call it reject. Let me call it grade 2 tea. Grade 1 tea is the one that is normally bought very hurriedly at the auction. Grade 2 tea is the tea that the packers were exposed to buying and packing. Now that we exerted all these taxes, packers were discouraged and there is no more value addition. The reason number 2 why we have jam in Mombasa for tea, and as I speak like this, I'm sure farmers in Kericho and Nandi know what I'm talking about, because they know that their suppliers have not been paid for the last 1 year. They know some of the farmers are yet to receive their monthly payments. They know the problems of auctions that have been experienced by some factories, because that jam, that mess in Mombasa is actually affecting farmers at the factory level. The government of Kenya, through what they called the tea reforms, introduced a price guidance procedure. What does that mean? The government of Kenya, through tea reforms, fixed prices. When they fixed prices, grade 1 tea and grade 2 tea, the difference between the prices was only 0.45 of a dollar. Most of the buyers of our teas at the auction decided there is no difference, there is no value addition for me to buy grade 2 tea, which is only less with 0.45 of a dollar. I would rather buy grade 1. So all the grade 1 tea from Central, because most of the grade 1 tea is from Central Kenya, was bought. All the grade 2 tea, mostly from Kericho and Nandi areas, is what is lying in Mombasa. And buyers at the auction are only going for grade 1 tea. I am not an expert on tea auction. I would want you to invite some of those traders from the tea auction here to confirm whatever I'm saying, whether it is true or not. Now, let me speak as a member of Parliament for Githunguri. Our grade 1 tea from Kagwe Tea Factory and Kamba Tea Factory is a hot cake in Mombasa. But because there is some cost that is normally shared by economies of scale, the jam affecting the tea from other regions is also affecting the price of our tea. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Now, there were those farmers that were buying tea at the factory level at Kagwe Tea Factory and Kaba Tea Factory. Those are the mama bogas who normally go and ask for the grade 2 tea, and they will pack it in Githunguri town, Githega town, and they will sell it. They hawk that tea to us. And by the way, it's normally very good tea. That's what I normally consume. It's very good tea. Now, when we added the price of packing papers on this finance bill, and by the way, when I was talking about the many taxes, I didn't touch on eco tax, which has been introduced, and that same paper is being charged ECOP tax. So all those taxes I've mentioned have actually made that Mama Mboga who used to pack tea in Githunguri from Kamba Tea Factory run away from that business.
So basically,
how many? Let me finish before I forget, my brother. So if you look at the value chain between before the taxation and after taxation, the boda guy who used to move around and collect that tea cannot afford to do so. The Mama Boga who used to go and buy that tea and pack as a cottage industry exercise and sell it to us cannot afford to do it because the cost of paper is so high. The cost of electricity went high last year because of fuel and many other issues that we introduced through the Finance Act 2023.
Mheshimiwa Gadoni.
Yes.
You're a member of Parliament.
Yes.
Okay. So you've clearly understood the impact that some of these proposals can have on very many sectors of the industry. Do you have a forum where you can raise these issues? Do you have a forum where you can explain these issues to other members of Parliament, where then all of you can decide and vote properly on such an issue?
The only forum I have as a member of Parliament is to go to the National Assembly floor and debate. And once I debate, if members are convinced what I'm saying is right, they vote with me, either to reject or to accept.
Are there other members who see what you're seeing?
Unfortunately, I don't think we still have that opportunity to debate effectively in the National Assembly of Kenya. Because, like I said last year, Parliament is heavily patronized. And therefore, people come there already opinionated that we are going to pass that finance bill, whatever it takes, however it looks, whatever is inside there, because we want to please our party leader. We want to abide by the party positions.
Bottom line,
so irrespective of the issues that I'm raising...
The law is being made from elsewhere. Parliament is rubber stamping it. Is that what you're saying?
From what I saw last year, yes. That people are telling you, Gathoni, we hear you. Like last year, I really made a lot of noise because of my farmers. And some members of Parliament would come and tell me, I hear you, Gathoni, what you're saying is right. You are actually talking the truth. But because I belong to this party, I must pass that finance bill earliest in the morning, so that I can please my party leader.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Gathoni Wamuchomba, the Member of Parliament for Githunguri constituency, has been our guest.
Now, there is the start of all this. There is something I want to speak about listening to that. The framers of 2010 Constitution envisioned a monster called public participation. I've called it a monster because that public participation to me is just a political process that it doesn't have quality, or rather the framework of public participation is the biggest impediment to the success of this country. I agree with those who say that not all opinions that Kenyans are saying about finance bill should be included because Kenyans on one side could only be talking about what needs not to be taxed, but the government has to look from both sides, what is taxed and the revenue side. But there is something called public participation. People are, an MP will go consolidate members of his campaign team and his friends, pay them a stipend of some 500 shillings. They meet in a room, they discuss, and for those who want to, and I've always realized, members of budget committee, some one member or two, will be the constituency, these constituencies, talking about and asking wananchi. And in a whole constituency where there are over 60,000 people, only some 20 people, 30 people participate in that public participation. Then, when the committee retreats to write its final document, you are told it is included, that the public opinion was included. I prefer the one that happens at the National Assembly, where they call heads of companies, they call civil society organizations, and other stakeholders in the country. But this one given to MPs to go and conduct public participation is just money going down the drain. And there is no guarantee, there was no clear line that what I am going to propose in public participation, how it was going to be integrated in that document. There was no, and I think we should not even waste Wanjiku's time. Let Wanjiku decide, let Wanjiku participate. No. The public participation is the biggest con in governance. And I agree with what Mwenje said, that probably we should allow some voting on finance bill. Even if not all, but a fraction of the population to vote on finance bill. Probably we can say that we'll go to, not MCS, we'll pick political party members across the divide and find a way. There is a way we must broaden and really make sure that public participation makes sense. Because Kenyans are asking, do we want this tax? No. Do we want that one? No. But at the end of the day, the document will come out with those taxes. There's some very strange, there is an eco tax on all the imports. So every import coming in the country, there will be some tax that will be slapped on it. And there are just a lot other taxes included. And the tragedy that has befell this country is the services are being withdrawn. I was just reading a story today that the university funding, the help funding for students have been reviewed downwards. And now many students opt to go to TVET and might even miss out on university because of that. I know we have the bedeviled university education that many people are graduating without the jobs. But of course, that doesn't mean that people should not go if you qualify, and not that people should not now go to university, because many university graduates are really grappling with unemployment out here. I think it's a safe box that government has put itself so that you can just churn out policies and just do things against the population, or is a strategy to withdraw services from the people. And that's why I'm looking at there some 5 quick issues that must be addressed, and I think your MP should look at this. The public must intensify the resistance on finance bill. Just like 2023 finance bill, it stretched the courts. People went to the court, and when judges were even supposed to decide, the judges were profiled. By the discussion, the last finance bill, the discussion on the last finance bill is still in court. Now, I think the litigation, all the other tools, the litigation from the civil society organizations, the resistance from the members of the public is very important so that the country vents its anger. That is the only language that those in power might understand. That public participation of going to meeting and going sit down somewhere, meet and be told about this and that is not really the thing. And that is one of the things that is affecting this country. If the public resist, voice their concern, they find different tools of showing dissatisfaction with the bill, then the government might actually listen. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Before I look at the other 3, I want to ask you to subscribe to our channel and also click the notification bell. Now, if you are in this country and you are looking for, you want to move your office items, relocate your office items from one place to the other, or even move up country, then you are handling your treasures. Those are things that you regard very important to you. What do you need to do? You need to consider working with a reliable, efficient, and cost-effective company. That is why I want to propose to you Top Mark Movers. Top Mark Movers are the best company in Kenya to help you to move from one place to the other. So you can contact them here. The number is 0719 17 43 93. 0719 17 43 93. The other thing I want to say, if Kenya is not going to pick itself off the IMF hook, then we are doomed. I don't say chasing, but the kind of things that IMF is proposing to Kenya Kwanza is what is hurting this economy. What the IMF are interested on is, we have a debt out of 2.9 trillion we are collecting, 1.8 is supposed to go to debt servicing. So in education, IMF is advising government, withdraw that feeding program in the school. Just imagine, you want to withdraw feeding program for our school children. At least the Kenyans pay taxes. There is something you can do to those innocent young children. And that was a program that was birthed more than 20 years ago to keep the kids in school. So IMF has told the president, remove that feeding program in the primary school. Go to university, reduce that funding, remove that funding on university. You know, I have one of my siblings in one of these TVETs. I was just getting just notification here that fees has been hiked from 67,000 to 87,000. Hiked by 20%, just like that. So what are we saying? You cannot just be waking up and just making adjustments. I want this money, let me adjust here. I want this money. And IMF is saying, that is in education. In the same education, they've said, stop that educare, edu insurance. There's an insurance cover that used to be given to students. Stop Linda Mama. Linda Mama was supposed to help the women who go to deliver. So you cannot be withdrawing services from the people. I think IMF is the biggest impediment. And we are churning out a lot of policies based on their demands. The other one is non-predictability of our tax regime is chasing investors. Because if you're an investor, last year you had to come from you had to go to your pocket and match your employees' 1.5 contribution of housing levy. And they asked, where are we getting the money? Where are we even contributing it? There was a problem of that. Now this time round, you're also being asked more taxes. So even if you are someone who wants to invest in the country, you can look and say, okay, this year, so what are they going to introduce next year? And the President Ruto continues to go in public saying that, you know what, the taxes as a percentage of our GDP is still low, and so by the time I will be leaving, I should make sure it's trailing around 2021, because country X is 40 and country Y is 30. You look at just copy pasting, and that predictability. When investors leave this market, there is a ripple effect because people lose jobs. With people losing jobs, they will fall back to crime. So crime rates might actually increase. And when we have a stressed population, we don't have a productive population. A stressed population cannot be productive. The other, I think, President must reduce the political patronage. The problem why we are struggling a lot is President Ruto will go to an event somewhere and line up those tribal chiefs. And those tribal spokesmen will come up and start mentioning, President, we want that road, you promised it during campaign. President, we want that. And even without reconciling your figures, you pick the microphone and start promising things left, right, and center. And that is why the cake is not enough. It cannot do all those things. I wish the president leaves. Do what Uhuru used to do. Ukienda event, read your speech. After reading that speech, don't give people time to talk what weighing. No, get one person, read your speech, launch whatever you launch, go back. So that you reduce the temptation to promise heaven while we don't have that money. Because it is that kind of money that is making the government to break the backs of the population looking for taxes. Thank you.